Happy Wednesday, folks. It's Andy Drifter here. I hope your day is going well. This is going to be the second movie review that I do on my channel. And we're going to talk about Emily the Criminal, starring Aubrey Plaza and Theo Rossi. This is another one of those gems that I came across by chance on Netflix. I had such a great time watching this film, so let's get into it. The film starts off with young Emily Bonetto in the middle of a job interview. Her future employer, or her potential future employer, is at the part about her criminal record. She does check yes on the application. He informs her that he has not conducted a background check on her and gives her this chance to talk about her criminal past, which consists of a DUI as well as a recent felony assault conviction. She does talk about the DUI and the circumstances around it, but fails to mention the part about her assault. Turns out the employer knows all about her past, and he is testing her honesty. When she is confronted with his deceptive tactics, she becomes infuriated, snatches her resume out of his hands, and storms out of his office and returns to her current job as a caterer. As someone who once worked as a caterer long ago and other aspects of the service industry, I can tell you it is not fulfilling work. Now, after completing a shift, she is walking home and she bumps into a coworker by the name of Javier. Javier's with his young son, and he's in a bit of a pinch. He tells Emily, look, I gotta take my son to his baseball game. Can you please cover my evening shift? And she reluctantly agrees. She looks at the boy, and it's one of the few times in the film where she does smile. And as a reward for her gratitude, Javier puts her on to a little side hustle he's going on as being a dummy shopper. Javier provides her with the phone number to text regarding the dummy shopper gig, which she does. She gets a very quick response saying, how would you like to make a quick $200 for 1 hour's worth of work? She responds, doing what? The texter says, come to this address and we'll explain in full detail. And she does. She does show up at the address along with a group of other people, and that's where she runs into Khalil and Yusuf, young entrepreneurs who are on the rise. Khalil and Yusuf, they are cousins, they are partners in crime, but they are very different in personalities. Khalil is very cold, he's strictly business, whereas Yusuf, he's a bit more charming, he is nicer, but that kindness does bite him in the ass later on in the film. Now, Yusuf does the talking to the group and he lays out the game plan, but before he does that, he tells them right off the rip, look, what I'm about to ask you is illegal. If you have an issue with that, you can leave right now. But if you leave, don't ever come back here. Nobody leaves at this point, and that is where he lays out what needs to be done. He tells them that each of them will be supplied with a credit card with a stolen number on it. They got to go to a department store and buy a flat screen TV, bring the TV to Yusuf and Khalil. Once that is done, they will be given $200 in straight cash. Now, this is the part where young Emily, she bucks. And as she's about to leave, Yusuf's like, hey, what's the problem? She's like, this is very risky. How do we know these credit cards work? What if they ask for ID? She is given a fake ID that correlates with the stolen credit card, and she's off to the races. She goes into the department store. She is visibly nervous, but she does purchase the TV, completes the task, and collects her payment. And that is where Yusuf gives her a burner phone. Says, hang on to this. We got some more work for you if you're interested. This next job that I have for you, it's going to pay $2,000. Of course, Emily is intrigued at the prospect of making a quick $2,000, but this next project is far more complicated and far more riskier. Nonetheless, she dives in, she accepts the challenge, and she encounters one major roadblock with this task. And this is where you learn Emily is very quick on her feet. She's able to maneuver through it. She completes the task and collects the $2,000, but she is visibly shaken up. She is both emotionally and physically traumatized after this last job, and Yusuf sees that. It's very clear that she is busted up over what she just did, and that is where Yusuf sort of puts his arm around her and drives her home and does his best to comfort her. And she suffers some minor injuries. He tends to them, and you can see what's going on. There's a little bit of a spark that develops between the two of them. Now, I failed to mention that Emily loves to draw. She is actually a talented artist. However, as you may or may not know, there are far more starving artists as opposed to successful ones, which is why she has to resort to living this double life of working as a caterer as well as navigating the underworld involving stolen credit cards and stolen property. Now, she has a very close friend by the name of Liz who works in the graphic design business. They talk on the regular, and Liz tells her, listen, I'm on good terms with my boss. Don't worry about your criminal past. I think I'll be able to land you a job where I work. Just give me some time and have a little bit of patience. Back to Yusef and Emily. They begin dating, and their relationship is starting to blossom, both on the business side with their partnership as well as romantically. And there are two absolutely beautiful moments that happen in one scene in this movie that's worth talking about. I'll talk about the second part first, where Yusef asks Emily, listen, I need you to do me this huge favor. If you do this for me, I'll owe you big time. And of course you think this is some nefarious scheme, but it turns out it's not. Now, the first part of this amazing scene between Yusef and Emily, Yusef's in the process of purchasing an apartment complex. He's going to rent out the homes and also live in one of them. They're being redone, so they're sitting on the floor of his future home. There's no furniture. They're sharing a meal and sharing stories about each other's past, and that's where Yusef asks her, what do you want? As in, what do you want out of life? And she pauses and says something so profound. She says, I want to be free. I want to experience new things. I want to live in another country. I want to focus on my artwork. And it's not only what she says, it's how she says it. You hear and feel the pain in her voice that I think a lot of younger people go through. A lot of Americans, they want to experience new things and be free, but they can't because their job and their finances, or I should say lack of finances, just has them in a chokehold, which restricts their ability to maybe live out their dreams and check off the things on their bucket list. But back to Emily and Yusef. Their relationship is progressing nicely, but it does not stay that way for long. Khalil has a serious issue with those two dating, and there are some major roadblocks ahead which will compromise both their financial freedom, their actual freedom, and their lives. I had heard of Aubrey Plaza before, but I can't say I've ever seen any of her movies, but I'm so glad that I stumbled upon this film. This was such a joy to watch. I never heard of Theo Rossi either, but he's been acting for quite some time, and the whole cast of this film is magnificent. I should mention, there is one scene that involves the wonderful Gina Gershon, which was pretty refreshing to see. So listen, Netflix, they are killing it when it comes to movies and series, documentaries, and this one is no exception. Check it out. Emily the Criminal, that is a fetching title. It's only 95 minutes long, so it's not that long either. There's never a dull moment. Check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by this film.